What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And today, returning to the channel is my friend, my buddy, my brother, Jeremiah. Let me say it right, Street, because I said Screet. And my son sat up there and actually edited as Screet, and I was like, "Why didn't you ask me what his real name was?" And it's like that's the joke that I do about his last name, saying Screet, but it's Jeremiah Street, everybody. So again, I want to welcome today's show. We're going to focus on the divisions and what our takes are on the division. So today we're starting off with the NFC South. We're starting off with the NFC South because if y'all don't know, Jeremiah is a Carolina Panthers fan. And that's one of those things that we have to sit up there and respect the fact that he is a Panthers fan. And again, as the guest, we got to bring the guest in and let him represent as well as he can. So with that being said, we're going to start with the NFC South. So Jeremiah, I'm going to let you go first. We're going to go 4 through 1. So 4 being the least likely one all the way down to the what could be the winner of that division. So I'll let you start off.
Okay, it's real funny that you say introduce him to Jeremiah Street, because that's what they say when I'm back home anyways. Down south, they say cross the street, Jeremiah Street, they say all that. That's just funny what it is. But yeah, so starting off the NFC South. It was pretty easy for me considering that they have some quarterback issues. They don't know exactly who's going to be starting quarterback. They're going to be fighting for that position during training camp. So the easy one for me, and it'll be New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints would be like the bottom tier for me. They do have some good key pieces, but it's just one of those things where they are struggling with the quarterback position. I did see how it played out last year. They did finish at the bottom of the South, even though they were tied with the Carolina Panthers. They did tiebreaker. They did finish at the bottom, but I can definitely see them finishing at the bottom again this year.
And you know what? I actually agree with you on that. I'm with you on that, and the same thing. I got the Saints at the bottom. And it's the exact same reason. Tyler Shark, they got him as the starter, which is crazy. I don't think that he's ready for that. I do feel that their defense is aging a little bit, especially that defensive line. I'm not certain how well it's going to play. Chase Young might have a bigger impact this year, but they're one of the few teams that I have to admit their linebacking core is one of the best. They have a very good linebacking core, but again, with the quarterback disarray that's going on, the fact that they just felt that Spencer Rattler wasn't the guy is crazy. Like I'm surprised that they really did that. But yeah, for me at the bottom is New Orleans Saints. Who's your number 3?
Number three is pretty tough for me. It was tough for me. As you know, you already mentioned I was a Carolina Panthers fan, and the fan at me just want to have him in the top because you know how it goes with optimism, being optimistic beginning of the season before the season start.
Right.
But realistically, going off for the past 2 years, I know we made some additions, things like that. So I had Carolina. I put Carolina at 3. The reason why I put Carolina at 3, because that was tough for me. It's just mainly because we got a whole bunch of new pieces. Bryce Young still got to do his thing to make everything work. Our offensive line has definitely improved. We got to still keep that going up. And then the defense is what was the big improvement that they made. We was last in tackles. Matter of fact, we were historically bad. We gave up over like 3,000 yards total. I think that's like second worst in the NFL history. But we did we get Derrick Brown back, and we picked up Bobby Brown the third, picked him up. We also got Trayvon. Picked up Trayvon. Yeah, we needed some help on the back end. And then we also got Tershawn Wharton. So we made some picks on defense. My issue is with the cornerbacks. We got we got our main pro bowler. And then after him, uh, we got Mike Jackson. You know, we got Mike Jackson. So Mike Jackson he was pretty solid. Pretty solid last year. Oh yeah, we did add Rico. We added Rico
Right.
because Jonathan Brooks towards ACL last year. So that's a big pickup. And then we also picked up Trevor Etienne from the draft. So he's a change of speed. So the wide receiver core looking good. I spoke about that last time briefly about the wide receiver core. But I'm pretty confident in them. If they can somehow make those two big outside their X and Y Xavier get if they can make that whole thing work, we'll see. But I know Adam Thielen's still going to bring it, and it's
Yeah.
surprising. Yeah, I put him at 3.
You know what's funny? I got him at
Yeah.
3 as well. So far, it seems like we're lining up, and I think that
Yeah.
our last
Yeah.
two may line up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing. The law firm of Brown and Wharton is going to be dangerous. Y'all
Yeah.
are going to be shutting stuff down, and that y'all got probably what is probably the toughest front three, probably actually in the division. You guys are very solid at that front three spot. Yeah, when it gets to cornerback, y'all third cornerback is where it gets shaky. Especially when you're talking about some of the other teams that you face that can go 3 and 4 deep at the wide receiver position. So that right there is going to be problematic for y'all. I'm not as confident in your receiving core, not because they can't do it, but because out of everyone, I think y'all have one speed guy, and everybody else are kind of like those possession receivers that may not separate as well. So I think that's the only downside to what you guys got. But yeah, I got Carolina as the number 3 as well.
Yeah.
So let me hear your number 2. It sounds like we're lining up on this.
Well, no, number 2 that was easy. That was easy when after Carolina Panthers was number 3. So number 2 is Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons. You know they have the quarterback issue. Well, I guess that's kind of an issue, but that's a good issue to have. Kirk Cousins he had the injury last year. It started out well last year. Uh, but you see, Penix he played pretty well to me towards the end of the year, and then he played good against the Carolina Panthers. The last game of the season, it was a shootout. Carolina Panthers won that game, but he showed that he can actually start in the NFL. I like that he can play, but I hate that he's in the division. I did watch him play up close up here up in Seattle.
Mhm.
His last year up here was only year up here. But they got a good team. They got a good team. Look at the running backs, man. Look at it. They have it, man. They made some good pickups too for the offseason. Atlanta Falcons my number 2.
Yeah, Atlanta Falcons is my number 2 too. Not only that, I think that they're probably the most dangerous offensively. I think they're going to scare and frighten a buttload of teams because I think that they're not going to be prepared for that
Hmm.
offensive weaponry or that offensive juggernaut that's going to be coming at them. Like you said, when you got not only one running back but two running backs that are very dangerous, especially when you're talking about one relieving, when you talk about Tyler Algier, who's relieving a top level guy in Bijan Robinson. That is like huge. Then when you go to the receiving core and Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and oh my God, the other guy's slipping my mind. But you're talking about and then you got Kyle Pitts at the tight end spot. We'll
Yeah.
probably see the emergence of Kyle Pitts this year. And then they have one of the best offensive lines. Offensively, this may be a team that, even though defensively they're not too bad, they're not great, but they're not too bad. They can probably stay in games by just upping the points on everybody. And that will be the thing. Well, will we see the Atlanta Falcons just bludgeon people with offensive firepower in the season to the point at where they could win the NFC North? I mean, the NFC South, they could win it. But with that, yeah, my number two are the Falcons. So it sounds like we're in alignment with the NFC South. So
Yeah.
who, of course, your number one has to be who?
Hey, Tampa Bay Bucks. Tampa Bay Bucks. You know what's crazy about Tampa Bay Bucks? For the most part, they kept their team, their core together. They kept the core together for the most part, and they also added Hassan Reddick.
Mhm.
They picked him up. Although he didn't have his, he bet on himself and he kind of lost, but now he's signing a 1 year deal,
Mhm.
and you know what that means. You sign a 1 year deal. Hey, he's looking for the money on that back end.
Right.
So you know, you still and Mike Evans don't. He doesn't seem, even though he old, he still don't seem to be slowing down, man. He's still doing his thing. He's the type of receiver that can last a long time in the NFL, mainly because he's big and he still knows how to use his body,
Yeah.
regardless of the fact. So um, he's still getting end zone. They got a nice receiving core. They have a
Mhm.
really nice receiving core. Baker Mayfield's one of those quarterbacks that needs that. You know, he showed that throughout his career. But if you get him one, he can get the job done. Although their record didn't reflect it, I think this year it may reflect what they have. But they also had a lot of injuries last year with Chris Godwin. You know, Chris Godwin, he stayed injured. But
Right.
if he ends up playing the entire year, you know, you got a different a Bucks team that can actually potentially make a deep run in the playoffs. But we'll see about that when the season comes up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's again, like I said, Atlanta could take it if they can. Their firepower can overwhelm the Buccaneers defense, which
Mhm.
I can see it doing that. But currently, right now, the Falcons don't have the defense to stick with that offensive firepower that Tampa Bay is going to have. When you're talking about, yeah, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then they just drafted Abuka.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
and then you got Jalen McMillan that they drafted last year. They go five deep. Then I mean, Bucky Irvin is a very dangerous, slippery running back when it comes to the backfield. So yeah, their own. Like I said, I'm not putting their injuries or anything into that, but yeah, Tampa Bay right now looks like they will repeat. When you're talking about what they're facing again in the NFC South versus what could happen, like I said, I could see the Atlanta Falcons possibly jump leapfrogging them if their firepower is what I think it's going to be. But currently, right now, yeah, I got Tampa Bay as as my number one in the NFC South. So definitely want to see that. So now we're going to go to what I feel is a very tough division to figure out because there's so many things that's going on with the NFC South. um, and this one was a tough one. I do feel some fans are going to hate me because of what I have to say when it comes to some of their teams, but I'm going to start this one off. So, my number four, which is probably going to blow people's minds, my number four in the division is going to be the Detroit Lions. Uh, I don't think they understand the impact of losing two coordinators the way they did. Sometimes that consistency can really be problematic when you're used to how a certain person is calling plays and calling certain schematics and things like that, and even how some coaches look at the game. Some coaches don't all look at the game the same way. And I do feel that with the Detroit Lions, that impact of that is big. Not only that, they lost their center who retired and Frank Ragnow. I don't think they know how big of a difference that will make, especially when you're talking about Jared Goff, who's been used to Frank Ragnow for so long. He now has to get comfortable with a completely different center now. And how does that impact his ability to play quarterback as well? Will we see him in the shotgun more often? Will we not see him under center? Or will we see him more under center because he's in fear of the snap exchange? What will we see? So for me, yeah, like I said, I know it was going to be something, but I think that when it comes to consistency, I don't think they understand how big of an impact that change might be. So What is your number 4?
I agree with you on that O line front, but we're definitely gonna be different on this one. Definitely. We was together on the NFC South and NFC North is gonna be different. I went with the obvious choice because there's a whole bunch of unknowns, whole bunch of unknowns. I went with the Bears. I
Okay.
mainly went with the Bears. My reason for picking the Bears, they got Ben Johnson. We all know he came from Detroit. He
Hmm.
was obviously his work speaks for itself over there. They did revamp the O line. They had got Drew Dalman.
Hmm.
Drew Dalman, they picked him up. He only had like 2 sacks in his last 556 snaps, I believe. He
Hmm.
only to give up 2 sacks. That's a pretty good as a big improvement what they had last year. But my biggest doubt is right now is obviously it's Caleb Williams. It's Caleb Williams. I haven't seen even play in USC. You really don't see him play from the pocket so much. He was more of a scrambler. He makes his money on the move. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Moving that pocket. But everyone in the NFL knows that. So
Right.
they're gonna do their darn to keep him inside the pocket, to make him pocket passer. But he's also athletic, so it's ain't so much you can do to him. But eventually he's gonna get outside that pocket. But we'll see. I'm not so sold on Caleb Williams, especially even though a lot of it's not his fault. He went through the whole Bryce Young phase
Hmm.
with having a terrible O line. When you have a terrible O line, you don't have faith in actually getting that holding on to that ball for too
Right.
long. But I also look at Jalen Daniels, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, they went number one, number two. It's like Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud.
Right.
They going both opposite directions. But that I just went with that because it's just unknown. Like I don't know what it's going to look like once it happens.
So okay, so for me, your number 4 is actually my number 3, Chicago.
Okay.
Again, same thing. It's the unknown. Ben Johnson. I think that Ben Johnson, which is why I put Chicago at 3 versus Detroit at 4. Because Ben Johnson knows Detroit, I think he gets those wins against
Mm-hmm.
them. But I do feel that there will be some learning the new culture type of thing, especially when you're talking about offensively. Is Ben Johnson going to even be the play caller in Chicago? Like, will we see him actually calling plays? We don't know because at this point he did hire an offensive coordinator, but is that enough to make his hire as the coach? Because everybody knows that they hired him specifically for the offensive purpose of not only that and developing Caleb Williams. What will he be? What will he do with that whole thing? And again, it's very contingent upon the factor of them being very good offensively. They still got issues at the tackle positions. Braxton Jones is back. He's been an injured guy a lot of times. And then you talk about Darnell Wright, who's also not been the best when it comes to blocking and stuff like that. So defensively, I think they're going to be great. Dennis Allen was a smart hire for him. So that was a good smart hire when it comes defensively. But again, yeah, Chicago is my number 3. Who's your number 3?
That now my number three is probably gonna shock some people. Maybe I don't know. Maybe, but I tell you right now, I decided my number three is gonna be them cheeseheads, the Packers. Yeah, I chose
Oh.
the Packers, man. I chose the Packers. The reason why I chose the Packers, man, a lot of times when you stay stagnant and kind of like whenever you play in, play out throughout the years, you're due for a drop off at some point in time. And
Hmm.
then you look at the offseason moves. I'm like, who did they add? They added Alexander's gone. He went to Baltimore,
Hmm.
and then they picked up McCole Hartman. The
Yeah.
only time he's really good is when he's with the Chiefs. I mean, I mean, that's proven. Then Jordan Love, I'm not so sold on. I'm sold on him as a quarterback, but I'm not so sold on him being durable. I'm not really
Mm.
sold on him being durable, and so I'm expecting him. Honestly, I'm expecting him at least to miss between 2 to 5 games at some point in time this year. It could be a little ankle, it could be a hand injury, it could be something very small. Um, but that's why I met with the Packers, man. I mean, I explained my other reason why who I picked up next to them, but that's my reason for the Packers. I'm one of them staying stagnant after all these years, and no one wants to come to Green Bay. No one wants to come to Green Bay. That's probably why they can't get no good. They got to go through the draft, man.
Yeah.
They ain't had nothing since
Yeah.
Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
All right. Well, I mean that's wild. I mean that is wild, man. I mean I think we're going to be ruffling a lot of feathers this time around. So for my number two, I got the Minnesota Vikings. I think that JJ McCarthy coming in, I don't know what he is. I don't know. I mean, when you look at him in college, that the offense that Michigan ran was a run heavy offense.
Run heavy.
Does he make that adjustment into a system that that is strongly pass friendly? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? When you talk about Justin Jefferson, you talk about Jordan Addison and things like that, and then Aaron Jones, how good is he really going to be when he's accustomed to being a quarterback that was in a scheme where they basically took the ball out of his hands? And was that something that uh, Jim Harbaugh did because he wasn't that great at passing the ball? We
Mhm.
don't know. We'll find out. Then on top of that, his backup is Sam Howell. Like this can be an absolute disaster for them. But it's hard for me to believe that Justin Jefferson, again, for some reason, Justin Jefferson makes every quarterback that comes and plays look
Mhm.
good. And we saw that last year. We saw Sam Darnold look good, and we saw Sam Darnold actually put in some work that really made him that got him paid. But
Yeah, good point.
and then defensively, they're very strong defensively again. I mean, with the pickup of Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave to put on that front three, they actually did a good job. And you still got Jonathan Grenard still there, and you're talking about a team that is very solid. I'm not too caught up or too confident in their secondary, especially when you're talking about
Mhm.
Agent Harrison Smith is sitting up there. But yeah, that's what I got as my number two. Who's your number two?
That's the one thing we got. We got the same. I got I got Minnesota as my number two. For all the reasons you stated, but mainly the reason that I decided to have them as number two is because they succeeded with Sam Donald. Sam Darnold. They succeeded with him, man. I'm not expecting great things from him in Seattle this year. Because I seen him a couple of stops. He stops at Carolina. He was at the Jets. He was at another team, I believe. Probably missing it. But the thing is, he really wasn't that good at either stop. It's not like the teams really did him any justice there. But considering that JJ McCarthy, he's coming off that injury too. But the thing is, he has a good receiving core. He has a good receiving core. Got a good O line. He's going to be upright for the most part to be able to make everything happen. I tend to think that they're going to start off a little bit slow. When I say slow, I'm talking about like, hey, barely getting those games, like getting those field goal win games. It's going to be that happening. But once he gets his legs underneath him, I believe they'll just be fine. But it remains, we'll see. He's still a rookie. In our reality, he's still a rookie.
Yeah, and that's crazy. I mean, I get it. For me, so last but not least, in our final 8 minutes, the number one I got is the Green Bay Packers. The reason I got the Vikings and the Packers is because to me consistency matters. Coaching staffs have not changed. A lot of the players have not changed. I mean, they picked up Matthew Golden in the draft, which was a great pickup. Um, their offense to me is very, very good. Their defense is kind of shaky, but Valentine was actually very good for them last year, and he's going to
Mhm.
be stepping into that main starting role. So if he basically goes back and does what he did last year again, the Green Bay Packers are going to be a tough team to beat, and that's my number one. Of course, we know what your number one is at this point.
Yep. Number one's Detroit. I do agree with a lot of the reasons that you mentioned, but I will say this: even though they have a new coordinator, their new coordinator did work with Ben Johnson in 2022. So he has some familiarity with that whole system, and he was also with Sean Payton last year.
Mhm.
So it's not like he's new to being around offensive gurus. So I'm expecting him to come in there and not change the system, because he knows the system. At least he was there for at least 1 year in 2022 with Ben Johnson, so he understands it. And then, man, they Ben Johnson is a big piece, but their mentality is still gonna be the same. You gotta think about the whole damn coach. I said the whole coach, their coach, excuse me, the head coach, how he is. That mentality is still gonna be there, regardless of whoever's there. You remember they lost a lot of people on defense,
Right.
and they still went 14-2 last year. They still went 14-2 last year with their defense not even there really. Everyone was scoring on them, but for some reason they was able to outscore their opponents and make it happen. I
Right.
believe if they take on that same mentality, I honestly believe they do the same thing this year. They may not go 14-2, but I'm talking about just win a division.
And again, like I mean, I get it. That's why I said
Yeah.
a lot of Detroit fans are going to hate me because I mean, for me to put them at the end, I know they're going to be like, "F you, the hell with you." You know, you don't know what you're talking about. I just feel that when it comes to consistency, especially when you're talking about coaching,
Yeah.
it's going to be hard to, especially when you're talking about these guys were there for, in fact, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson have been there the whole time since
Yeah,
Dan
they
Campbell
have
got the
been.
job.
They have been.
So you're talking about just those two key pieces not being there anymore. I do feel that the vibe and the environment will be different. And I get where you coming from. I agree, like it's going to be hard. Again, I get it, 14-2, but again, you still had those same voices there. You know what I'm saying? What happens when the voices are not there? And like I said, I think the Frank Ragnow retirement is bigger than what people know or people are paying attention to because that he was a massive piece for that offensive line, especially when you're talking about the captain of the line. So yeah, that's going to be something. But I mean, so those are our predictions, I guess, or what we feel is going to happen with the NFC South and the NFC North. Y'all tell us what y'all think. How many of y'all agree with Jeremiah and myself, especially when it comes to NFC South? We were spot on and together on that. And tell us, how do y'all feel about the NFC North? That was a hard one, not only for myself, but Jeremiah also said that was a tough division to really try to figure out. So y'all let us know what y'all think. Hey, and please be gentle in the comments. I know Detroit fans, don't be mad at me. I'm sorry. But y'all don't have the consistency there. Y'all lost two coaches that were big to y'all culture of the team. So y'all tell us what y'all think. How do y'all feel about our selections? Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, along with my co-host Jeremiah Street, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.